Hello, Trey.
Hello, Travis.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm tired, but I'm always tired this time of the week. It's like it's Sunday night. I gotta get ready for work tomorrow, but it's good. It's good to hang out with you and talk D&D stuff.
It is. I pulled up the very beginning of your bearded book club, and the first thing I was like, I could just tell Trey's tired.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Because
then you were like, I'm tired. You just
yeah,
was like straight up with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Because Sunday is church day, so we're running around doing all that, and a lot of our people were going to a leadership conference. My wife and daughter included. And of course, Emily, God bless her, decided to start getting ready for this trip at 11 o'clock last night. So I'm ready to go to sleep, and she's like, "Oh, I need to start laundry so that I can get ready for the trip." I'm like, "Oh my god." But no, so I had to get them off and everything, and I came home from church, and you know how it is, you start playing games and stuff like that, and suddenly you've been sitting in a desk chair for 4 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Our wives are cut from the same cloth, so I understand.
Oh, you and I are so
No.
similar. See, if it was up to me, I'd have prepared for this trip like 3 days ago. I would have been packed, ready to go. I would have been packed, needed the clothes I packed, and then had to repack because I had to get them out and wear them.
That's funny. What's your
But I'm
mug
doing.
say? I see the
Oh,
D20 on there.
yeah. I don't know if I can get it super close for you, but it says you take a sip of coffee, but you roll a nat 20, and it says it's actually beer. So yeah, I got this mug because I got it for Dungeon Master Appreciation Day, which is a thing.
Well, I'm not feeling appreciated. No. What
Well, you
day?
should talk to your crappy players then.
I don't have any currently. What day is that? That wonderful holiday.
Oh, let me look it up for you. But anyway, I got my cup of coffee ready to go because I'm gonna get this last home stretch of the evening in for the fans. Let's see, Dungeon Master Appreciation Day, International GM's Day. What is it? When is it?
Every day.
Game Master's Day. Where the heck is it? I have a whole article here that tells me about it, but it does not tell me when it is.
All right. Well, while you read that, I'll do our intro.
Yes, please do.
Yes. Welcome everybody. We're so glad you're here. This episode should be interesting because I am ill prepared. I feel like I say that every week, and it ends up being just fine. Like most games that I DM, ill prepared, but it always turns out. You found favorite terrain, and we are your new favorite D&D or tabletop RPG podcast. I am being distracted here by my daughter with a finger puppet who's trying to get a little screen time. There we go.
It happens. It
Yeah.
happens. By the way, it's March 4th.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons. It's a command, March 4th, and it's also the day Gary Gygax passed away.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So March 4th is Dungeon Master or Game Master Day, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Anyway, so favorite terrain, your new favorite tabletop RPG podcast. I'm Travis.
I'm Trey.
And we're Two Beards Play, and we get on here once a week and just talk about. We try to pick a topic and go with it, but sometimes we just talk about D&D or tabletop RPG related stuff and just kind of have a go at it for an hour.
Yeah.
If you found us over on Spotify, you can join us live every week, Sunday, 7 Central. And also on Twitch. So if you want to get on the live conversation, leave us a comment like Dewart Lemons just did.
Woo,
What's up,
Dewart?
Dewart? You get a little shout out in the live show and be in the podcast forever.
Forever,
until the
Forever,
internet
ever?
ends, and I think that's when Jesus comes back. So
Yeah.
Also, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, where we post stuff here and there. And most importantly, you can find us over on Patreon, patreon.com/twobeardsplay, where you can become a patron member and support this podcast, like our ever faithful patron, Bubblewums.
Yeah.
It took me a second.
I'm about to say, really? The patron? You forgot him?
Yeah. We've got some really awesome tiers over there that's D&D video game related that it's worth checking out. I think there's some fun stuff over there. And not only that, but if you're a patron, you get to suggest and have your topic of discussion jump up to the top for the next episode or whenever, we get that in there. We've already had one Patreon sponsored podcast, and it was fun. It was on homebrew items and just homebrew, I think, in general. But yeah, so welcome. Lurk. You're welcome to lurk. You're welcome to lurk, Texas Stubbies.
The lurker army is strong, but hey, we prefer chatting.
But yeah, so welcome.
In Texas chats, don't act like you don't chat. I've seen you in other shows. You're a chatter.
Yeah. Yeah, so here we are. Oh yeah, if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and all that. Twitch, give us a follow so we can reach out and reach more people.
Texas said, sorry, I'm watching the Halo Championship right now. Halo Championships still go on? That's insane to me.
Oh, I don't know how I just commented on my own channel.
Well, that's because I got on your account and commented for you. The last day of the World Finals, yes.
What is there a prize for the winner? What is it? I'm curious.
like is it just bragging rights? Like you are the Halo? Are you Master Chief in that situation?
No, they've got like fat cash prizes for these
oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, $1 million prize pool. So
ooh, and it's Dwarfs at Halo 6 is the prize. Yes, you get the only copy.
Yeah. Was that really you, Trey, on my account?
Yes, Travis, don't freak out. That was me.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at my children. One's on the Switch, one's walking around, and my wife's on the phone. So I'm like, who is it? First place wins $700,000.
Dang.
Yeah. It's a job if you're good. Which I'm not.
I was about to say, I'm not. I haven't been good at Halo for a hot minute.
Yeah. Anyway, so what are we talking about tonight, Trey?
Infernal Machine Rebuild. It's an adventure.
It is an adventure. And not only is it an adventure, it is an adventure that was built specifically for the thing that I'm about to tell you.
Yes, I'll fill for you. Cult Bangers said, LOL, no way did you teach English a couple of years back? Yep, still teach English, actually. It's my job. I'm shooting for vested retirement at this point, y'all. And Dort said, I'm more of a negative KD spread kind of guy.
Extra Life. It was an adventure module made to support the Extra Life. And if you don't know what Extra Life is, that is a nonprofit thing. A lot of streamers and stuff partner with, and they raise money for Extra Life, which I think goes to the hospital for kids. I can't remember the name of it.
St. Jude's.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I actually think one year for our 24-hour stream, we were raising money for Extra Life.
Yes. Yeah,
I think the year we did a bunch of Star Wars stuff, we did Extra Life.
Oh gosh, the 24-hour Star Wars stream, which we did on May the 4th.
Yes, because it was in the middle of COVID and we were home all the time.
Yeah, and you played all the Star Wars movies in the background.
I watched them all in the background. It was so great. To this day, I maintain best stream we've ever done. There's one point where we're playing. We were doing the Star Wars game. Which one was it?
It was Battlefront 2.
Yeah, we're playing Battlefront 2, and literally we're like asleep, and you just see us like running into the to the walls.
Yeah,
The
that
reading school for kids that can't read good.
the high sign is back. Yeah, it's mirrored, so it's backwards.
Hey, you can't make fun of dyslexic people on this channel, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, so yes, Extra Life for St. Jude's. And so they made this adventure, and then it's actually not the first adventure or content they've made for Extra Life to raise money.
No.
But so they put it out there, you could get it. Proceeds went to Extra Life, and it's a pretty cool adventure. It's very basic, not too in depth. Is from what I've skimmed over, the story hook, the plot is fun. Very classic D&D stuff, you know. You go in, you do the adventure, you get out. It's designed for 5 characters of 5th to 10th level, which I feel like is a large gap there.
Oh yeah, the difference between level 5 and level 10 is significant.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
vastly significant.
Yes, Texie.
Texie, that's your new nickname, buddy.
Texie. Yeah. Texie Stubbies. Just
Texie
condensed
Stubbies.
it into Texie. Yeah, I've been, I think, rocking this mic for about as long as Two Bears Play's been around.
Been around. Hey man, these Yeti mics work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know how we do with in the independent YouTuber world, you use it till it breaks, and then you have to get another one.
Yeah, which this one's on its way out. I have to like jiggle the cord down here to be able to hear myself through it, and but other
I'm
than
also
that,
known as Salty Santa.
I'm sorry.
You're just sorry that he's known as Salty Santa.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, but yeah, so we're going to talk about this adventure module, which is very short.
Yeah, would you like me to do the adventure summary in my radio voice?
I would love that. That sounds
All right.
like
Blame Zach for that nickname. I blame Zach for a lot of things.
rightfully so.
Yep. All right. Adventure summary of Infernal Machine Rebuild. While journeying through Feywoods, the characters must choose whether to help a trio of supposed dryads or a unicorn, with each faction blaming the other for the wood's corruption. Either way, the characters come across a fallen clock tower containing a strange set of magical components which appear to manipulate time within a localized area. Discovery of these components leads to an invitation to meet one of 2 agents, Lynx Creetlatch or Sir Ursus. Both are in competition with each other to collect all such missing components in order to reassemble the infernal machine of Lum the Mad. Each agent pledges to use the infernal machine against devilish forces plaguing the world, but each secretly plans to give it to their own patron archdevil. Both ask for the characters' help, looking to hire them to undertake expeditions to retrieve the missing components. Once the characters are involved, they are provided the resources to travel to 2 legendary locations of the past to recover the infernal machine components believed to be there. First is the Tomb of Horrors, in the period while the infamous dungeon is still under construction. There, they meet the tomb's architect, Mogadam, who oversees the site with an iron hand. The second location is the Temple of Moloch. In the same era, the temple is run by Mogadam's chief rival Thessalar, the inventor of the Thessal Hydra and many other grotesque monsters, including the Owl Bear. The characters must navigate the perils of both locations, manipulate time, and manage untrustworthy agents to return with as many missing components as they can. And even then, they must contend with the agents who hired them and ensure that a completed infernal machine of Lum the Mad does not fall into the wrong hands. That's what the adventure's about.
Yeah, that's very, very good.
I want to camp out on the fact that Homeboy invented owl bears.
Yeah.
What the heck? This thing we just assume is a magical creature. No. Created by Thessalar.
Yeah, I've always figured that they were, well, obviously they're magical creatures, but I didn't think they were ever naturally occurring.
Yeah, naturally occurring. Like, it's just a thing that's out there. Like, no one invented unicorns.
Right. I feel like, though, the name itself, Owl Bear, like, they knew what an owl was, they knew what a bear was, and so we combine these two things. It's not like, it's got its own name because it's its own creature. I feel like, hey, let's take these two things and smush them together and just call it an owlbear. I think that
Right.
that leans into the fact that it was created.
Yeah, that's true. It is interesting though that one, this is a time travel thing. Because time travel is very easily achievable in D&D, but to have a whole jumping the shark, we're doing time travel kind of thing for D&D for a whole adventure is interesting because it's like because time travel's that cliche thing you do when you don't have anything else to do, in my opinion anyway. It's like
Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
Like when Avengers Endgame came out and they were like, we're doing time travel. I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
So dumb.
It does in the next little thing reference because it does go back to like old D&D
Yeah,
source material.
the lore in this little adventure alone is dense.
Yeah.
Super dense.
This adventure explores 2 locations of the distant past, and as such features artifacts and figures from the deepest history of D&D. The Demi-Lich, Asarak, and his tomb are familiar from 1978's original Tomb of Horrors and 2017's Tomb of Annihilation. But this venture also features Tarnum, Asarak's Baylor father, and Mogadam,
I don't know.
Mogadam, yeah, the tomb's architect, both of whom first appeared in the era of 1998's Return to the Tomb of Horrors. And then it goes on, just referencing other materials from, the original D&D. And
I have actually ran Tomb of Horrors for some players before, and it's interesting. Gary Gygax wrote it because he had people that were complaining that nothing was hard in D&D. So he said fine, and he wrote one of the most difficult dungeons in existence. It's designed to literally drive players insane because of all the nonsense involved in it. I look forward to the episode on Tomb of Horrors because it was interesting when I ran it.
So
very interesting.
You ran the original 1978's Tomb of Horrors. Where do you find that now?
It's in Tales of the Yawning Portal.
Okay.
Like the source book Tales of the Yawning Portal. That book is actually a combination of older D&D adventures that they sort of modernized and brought into 5th ed.
5th ed. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to look at that. I am intrigued.
And you remember when we did the episode a couple of weeks ago on Waterdeep Dragon Heist, that tavern with the big well in it?
Yawning Portal?
That's the Yawning Portal. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the D&D lore runs deep, y'all.
So the Tomb of Horrors is part of the Yawning Portal? Or...
No. The book Tales from the Yawning Portal is just sort of like a nod to that character and everything.
Yeah.
But the Tomb of Horrors is its own little standalone thing. Did you see Ready Player One?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well anyway, they even reference it in that as well because it's like one of the most well-known D&D adventure dungeons. And this was back when D&D was literally dungeon crawls. There wasn't like overarching story plot. Character development didn't go. There was no real level up process. You had adventures, you got gold, and it was over. It was all one shots basically.
Right. And I love the idea that you used to like have a character, and if you play, no matter who you played with, like you would take that character and it would come with you. Like you would be known for having, that dude's got like a level 9 rogue that he is like, started from level 1 and has kept alive, and then like, well, he needs to come and hang out with us. He needs to bring that level 9 rogue over here to our party and help us clear this dungeon.
Yeah. because we can't do it.
Right. Yeah. And
It
so
was more like a video game if you think about it.
right, you get in, you do the mechanics, and like you know all the. I mean, there's some there, but like all the improv and the acting and
Yeah.
all the extra role play and stuff wasn't as big
No.
then. Um, yeah, right now we're going through the dungeon of the Mad Mage, and it feels like an old school
Dungeon crawl.
dungeon crawl. Actually, we just got out. We didn't even get we camped out on the first floor for a couple days and weren't able to get to the second floor because we're not ready. I don't know if this is like what they're guarding, but we came into a room of like 3 manticores, and we're
Oof.
level 3 or 4.
Oh.
And we're like, no, we can't. We're like, we're not even. I'm not even going in there. Like, I'm a rabbit character, the hair gone. And I was like, that's my
Yeah.
natural predator. I'm not going into
Hmm.
that room.
Yeah, I've heard that adventure is it can go it basically it's just a how long can you go before you inevitably die is basically what it is. So yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, we came out because apparently there's a festival going on in Waterdeep this time of year where people can enter their creations like robots and constructs and stuff. And one of the players is a Warforged. And so we're going to try to enter him in as my robot creation, even though he's a
Ah,
sentient person. Anyway, so looking
interesting.
looking forward to seeing how that
Yeah, you're gonna
plays
have to tell
out.
me how that goes.
Yeah. Um. So back to this infernal machine deal. So that's the adventure hook that Trey just read in his radio announcer voice, and then we have 5 chapters. Chapter 1, the unicorn and the hags. Chapter 2, the invitation extended. Chapter 3, construction of horrors. Chapter 4, temple of Moloch. And chapter 5, the final showdown. Um, and I haven't looked at any of these.
Well,
So,
from what I gather, it's basically like you've got your little plot hook, and then you like it said in the description, you have to choose help this unicorn or help these dryads, which obviously they're not really dryads, they're hags, and so you have to decide which one you're going to actually help, and then you get roped into like this competition to build this machine in chapter 2, and I'm simplifying all this because we don't want to give too much spoilers away. And then you
yeah.
have to actually you have to go travel through time, find these pieces of this machine, build it, and then you have to, I guess if you play it right, you can actually learn that both of the patrons that are hiring you to do this job are actually like devil worshippers and they're trying to like curry favor with their deity. And so you have to decide, what are you going to do? How are you going to go about doing this? And
Now, are we
all
talking
that
about
fun
the
stuff.
unicorn and the dryads are the devil worshippers?
No, no, no. There's 2 other NPCs that show up after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's the 2 agents, Lynn Creetlatch and Sir Ursus.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which, if Sir Ursus is not a werebear, that's a missed opportunity. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I get that. That's funny.
But yeah, that's kind of what I gather. Like I said, it's for um characters from 5 to 15. I think if you start them at 5, you should be level 10 by the end of it. But dude, that's a level a chapter. And depending on how
Yeah.
fast you do these chapters, it can go very, very fast.
Um, this is cool. I'm gonna pull up the screen share for our visual listeners here. Um, and they've got an appendix that's the handout section.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I'm not gonna avert your eyes if you don't want spoilers, but the artwork for these handouts are are a clear throwback to the old D&D art style that you would get with these books.
Oh yeah.
And this map, it just looks really cool. Um, there's no really explanation for what I'm looking at here, but just like I said, the artwork and the throwback is really cool here. Um, oh, I guess you could run this in Adventure League, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, most things, with D&D can be run in Adventure League. I just, I know where we're from in the southern United States. Adventure League is not very big down here.
No,
We don't have tons of organized D&D play, but I've got friends that are from up north, and they were like, "Oh, dude, that's all I did was Adventure League because nobody was running ongoing campaigns. It was all just Adventure League." And I'm like, interesting, but also sounds very boring. Like, I don't mean to crap on Adventure League, but I think I've said before, it is definitely not my cup of tea. Where you literally just kind of do like you said earlier, you just have your character that follows you from place to place, and you level up and all those different kinds of things. And I guess it's fine if you're not like super attached to your character and all that stuff. But that's very hard for me to do. Like when I have a character that I spend time on, boy howdy, do they have backstory and they're part of a larger world and they've got autonomy. They are not just, rando characters.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and I know they have certain guidelines to combat this, but like as a DM and having like who knows show up for my Adventure League session that I'm running, that would throw me for a loop. Like I don't know who's going to be in my game this week. Who signed up? Who's this new person? What's the character they're bringing? How do I know their character is legit? And like I said, I know they have like guidelines and stuff for character creation and what's good and what's not and what they're allowed to have and as far as magical items go. And I think like Adventure League, you're only allowed the player's handbook and one other source for your character. Like you can't use from different source books or multiple source books. It's like player's handbook,
right.
one source book.
Yeah, so when you sit down at the table with whoever your DM happens to be at a regular Adventure League session, they'll say, "What two sources did you use?" And you'll be like, "PHB and whatever."
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be.
I
can see the point in that, but also it feels very debilitating.
Yeah, whenever I started running games for Fanatics, and me and Phil were talking about like what we wanted to do and how we wanted that to look, we threw around the idea of doing Adventure League stuff.
Yeah.
But then ended up doing something else, which is kind of like it. Phil had this map, and it was like me running games in Dothan, and then Kote was running games in Enterprise and sometimes Dothan, but he wanted us to be in the same world. So, like, Jeremy was over here in this other city on one side of the continent, and I was over here in the other, and Phil wanted kind of like this interactive thing of, like, we would hear about the escapades of the other group going on over there.
Yeah, like the Fanatics world was a thing.
Basically. And it's a fun idea, but we also thought we would have rotating parties every week because of, people signing up, but, like, basically I got the one party, and at the end of the session, they would go ahead and pay for next week, and, like, that party got locked in, and that's the game I ended up running for 2 years, so.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, like, the idea is there. I believe there is something to that, and if you and I ever get to the point where we can just run a D&D company where we're basically just dungeon mastering for hire and we have that kind of thing, I think that kind of thing would be fun, where it's like you can, play your thing, but, you're part of this much larger story that we're telling. And you and I have already crossed the streams with our homebrews, so I think we're on to something big there. And we can even throw Jeremy's homebrew that we both started in.
Yeah.
And then be like, there is this one continent, but nobody goes there.
Yeah. I've speaking of homebrew, I don't know what I think the time travel conversation earlier made me think of this.
Yeah.
So and this I'm putting this out there on the internet. So if anybody who's like, everyone wants to use this, feel free. I'm not claiming this is an original idea, but um, in my games, because the okay, let's talk about beholders, because the lore behind beholders is a way a new beholder is created is that a beholder goes to sleep and dreams of itself, or and then
Or
a
it
beholder.
not specifically it nightmares about a beholder stronger than itself, and then
That's
it
right.
becomes real.
Yes, and so that beholder becomes in existence. So, but that leads me to think about what was the first beholder. Like there had to be an original beholder, and
Hmm.
I'm sure really there's probably D&D proper lore for that. I don't know what it is. So in
Well, I'm
my
about to search it.
well, but for my game, okay, I didn't really necessarily address how he was created, but I had the original beholder still in my world. He had created his own demiplane, okay, and he had one ability that was unique to him that did not pass on to any other beholder. He was before they knew it was beholder, he was called the lore master, and he was just because beholder love knowledge, they love knowing stuff, they love learning, they love whatever. Anyway, so he was the lore master, and so when they went to this like emerald spire in this like demiplane to meet the lore master, and it's a beholder. Okay, he is missing an eye on one of his eye stalks. He has one more eye stalk than a normal beholder because that eye stalk has the ability to control time.
Ah.
And so when they were battling through hell and all the different levels of that, towards the end, they found a glove that had this eye embedded in the palm, and it was the beholder's eye that was stolen from them that controlled time. So they had the mechanic to do a little bit of time control. They couldn't just like go back to wherever they wanted, but if they had something that was really old, they could use the eye to reverse time on an object to make it new, or some smaller things like that. But at the end, they made a trade to give him his eye back for something really cool. Um, and they this is the last session actually we had. They the beholder, they was like basically like, what do you guys want me to do? Like, I can send you back wherever you want. You want to go back home, we can go back home. You guys did me a great favor. I have my eye back. I have all my power. And somebody's like, can we go back in time to right before we went to um, the hell plane? And he was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, because time, they were maybe in there for a few months, but time passed differently there than it does in the material plane. So they were actually gone for about 10 years in the material plane. Anyway, so they went back in time right before they left. They saw their past selves go through the portal, and they basically just picked up where they left off. And it was a fun way to introduce. I don't know. I've got a fascination with beholders, so it was a fun way for me to create the first beholder in my brain, and
Hmm. That's pretty cool. I like that.
yeah, and introduce a thing for time. I don't know. I just thought it would be a good ability for him to have. So,
Oh no, it's pretty good. In fact, I like yours better than the canon thing
what's the
that I
canon?
found. Okay, so supposedly the canon original beholder is a thing. And it is called the Great Mother or the Great Beholder Mother. It's not a female, quote unquote, because that's not how beholders work. But the idea is that this beholder was the first beholder. And subsequently all other beholders um came after her. And supposedly she like resides in like the ninth or the sixth circle of the hells or whatever,
Hmm.
and all that good stuff. And there's like artwork of her and things like that. But that even raises more questions for me. What beholder did she dream of to to be more powerful than her? Anyway.
Yeah, so they dream or have the fear of a beholder existing that's more powerful than themselves, but when that beholder becomes into existence, doesn't necessarily mean that they're stronger than the
I
one who
get
dreamt of them or whatever.
Yeah, because supposedly, like, they can overpower the beholder they dream up, thus feeding their own megalomania in thinking they are the greatest thing ever created.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But in my mind, in my DM's mind, like the original beholder, the lore master with the ability to have control over time. Once he got his eye back, or before he lost his eye, would go through time and just collect knowledge, and that's why he just had like all this knowledge and history and information in his little emerald spire, and his own little demi plane.
I like that.
Yeah,
Supposedly, the Great Mother is 18 feet in diameter.
ooh,
That's a big beholder.
that is a big beholder.
That is a big beholder. Anyway, but yeah, fun fact you learned today.
Yeah.
The Great Mother is a thing in canon, but Travis's original beholder is more interesting.
Oh, all right. Well,
I really
uh,
wish there was more to this adventure.
yeah. Well, more without giving it away.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I mean, sometimes I really feel like our hands get tied with these things because it's like we don't want to spoil anything. We want people to go enjoy them and play the games themselves. But in this case, it's very, very short. Like this is literally to me a one shot. Like
it
if
could
you
be.
had a long session, like if you had a day to play D&D and you were like we want to do a complete thing, this would be a good one.
Speaking of, I would I would love to have nothing to do for a whole day.
But play D&D
Yes, like we used to.
like we used to, like we used to.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta save those for when it's like your birthday or something.
yeah.
It's like when someone asks, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" and you're like, "I just want to play D&D for 24 straight hours."
Speaking of birthdays, you just had one
I did.
3 days ago. So happy belated birthday! You
Thank you, thank you.
you probably knew this because I probably bring this up every time, but you share the same day as my mom, so it was also
Yes.
my mom's birthday.
Yep.
Um, which she actually just had surgery and she is recovering. She had like gallbladder surgery, so this whole
Dude, that's like the eighth gallbladder surgery I've heard about in the past month. I'm not even joking.
yeah, and
It's crazy, man.
she's recuperating, but not very well. you know.
Well, I mean, it's harder than you think because you're so sore. Because Emily had that a while back, and we had to take
Yeah,
her gallbladder out. You're super sore. You can't lift anything. You can barely move, and it's rough, man. I remember
yeah,
day 3 or 4 was the roughest, and after that, she made a turn.
good. I hope it's the same. She had to go back last night because she started running a fever,
Oh, that's not good.
but she's back home now. So
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah.
um, yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can just have a short episode unless there's anything else anything on the top of your head that you want to talk about.
Nothing's jumping to mind that makes sense for this.
I filled
And
some airtime with the Beholder story because time travel was in
was
there, but
part of that. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Um, and over the years, you and I have tried really good to just stay on topic and let the thing end when it needs to. Because
yeah,
I think I've maintained that's why you and I do well on like super long 24-hour streams and stuff like that. Because we can just go and go and go and go from one thing to another. Speaking of which, well, if you want to veil a little time, let's talk Two Beards a little, Travis.
okay.
Let's talk Two Beards. We'll do it live.
I'm down. I'm down.
Oh crud! I lost my thing. But there are some games coming out in the not too distant future that I think I'm gonna do a let's play of.
Do it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do God of War Ragnarok.
Okay.
Like I had to do the last one. I might have to do some editing for language and stuff like that.
I'm
But
sure. Yeah.
but I'm thinking of doing that. And then in February, Hogwarts Legacy comes out.
Hmm.
I have both of these games pre-ordered and pretty much paid off, so it's just a matter of waiting for it. And I'm like, man, that Hogwarts game's gonna be fun. I'm excited about doing stuff like that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Is there what's coming out that I'm excited about? Um, and with me and having kids, like, sure, I could go and get them, but the kids want them too, and Christmas is
Yeah.
coming up, so I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna wait till Christmas because gotta have something under the tree too now.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. I'm still in that sweet spot where my daughter is young and will not remember these Christmases for a few more years.
Yes, yes. Um, sorry, daughter's distracting me. Speaking
You
of,
never.
but yeah. So, what kind of style are you thinking about doing this in? Like, because it's been a hot second since like an
It's
official Let's
yeah.
Play. Are you going to live stream it? Are you going to pre-record it?
Well, see, here's the thing. If I live stream it, I'm not going to be able to edit out any oopsies.
That's
Like,
true.
because the last few Let's Plays that I did a while back, I did, God of War, and I did
The
A
Plague Tale.
Plague's Tale, which
Yeah,
also has a sequel, and I'm kind of excited about that as well, because that was a good game.
yeah.
I
And
don't
the
know if you
second
watched the
one,
whole thing, but it was
I
so
watched a
good.
good bit of it, and I'm a little sad that I didn't just play it.
Yeah.
But the second one is on Game Pass now, and
Oh, I wish I still had that.
and I've been
Because that's
thinking
where I got the
about
first one.
yeah, and I've been thinking about just firing it up, even though I haven't seen the second one. Um, so or I haven't played the first one, but I'm thinking
Dude,
about
it's a good game. I would highly recommend those games.
yeah. And
Um,
there's like a good. I haven't talked to you much about it, but lately my bread and butter has been Grounded.
yes, you mentioned it last week where you've been playing the mess out of it.
Yeah, like me and Jeremy have been running through it together, because we could do like a shared world thing,
Yeah.
um, and we are right at the end as far as storyline goes, and and yeah, we've got like one other thing to do, but that game's been so much fun. Like, there's something different about it, like because it's a very like Minecrafty game or like a Rust game, where it's like a crafting survival thing. But the story, like the story is really cool. It's a little dark, even though it looks more like a kid's game. But
hmm
um,
Yeah, I played that like open beta they did when they first
right.
started putting it out there, and it
Oh,
was good. I
it's
was like, but
very
you've
different.
said they've done so much changes to it.
Yeah.
You know, I
Um,
think that would be interesting.
but that I've been playing a whole lot. I've also picked up, and I've been playing it very sparingly. Is Death Stranding, because that's on PC Game Pass.
I've heard a lot of good things.
Dude, that game is phenomenal. Like, I'm not that far into it, but just story wise and the way that it presents the story, and I don't know, it's phenomenal. I'm very much enjoying that. But then like Plague Tales 2 is out, and I want to play that. There's a couple games coming on the Switch here pretty soon that I would like to play. And it's just a plethora right now of stuff that I'm excited about. And
Oh
and
yeah.
and picking one to do something as well is not a bad idea.
No. So yeah, I don't know about live streaming it. I might, because the plan for like God of War, I know I'm gonna have to do it episodically. I'm gonna have to like make sure that it's safe, family friendly, and all that good stuff for our shows and everything. But the Hogwarts Legacy thing, I don't see that being too terrible, because it's Harry Potter stuff and it's kind of geared towards children
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
But I still, we screen everything before we put it out on the channel. So I think the plan is Emily and I are going to play it together, and then I'll have like a separate uh let's play of it as well.
Okay. Is it going to be multiplayer?
I don't know yet, honestly. I
Okay.
haven't looked that into it. When I have a game that I actually am looking forward to playing, I don't try to
Keep
do a lot of
yourself in the dark.
research into it, because then you like, oh, it's gonna blah blah blah, and you're like, ugh, I really would have enjoyed experiencing that when I turned the game on.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a whole other thing that I could sit down and talk about for like an hour. How much YouTube content can ruin a game experience for you? Because I used to, like, if I was excited about a game, I'd get on YouTube and see what other people are doing and people are talking about and stuff. And I I started to do that with Grounded, just to see like, oh, what kind of builds, because they've got different tiers of armor that you can collect from different bugs and weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, I can't watch any of this. This is taking away the fun of
Of
discovering.
discovering it and figuring it out yourself. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
We walk a
like
tight road when we try to put gaming content out like this.
yeah, and I just feel like I don't know. I feel like because of the way video games and YouTube and the internet and stuff, like if we wanted to look something up when we were kids, like we could get up on our dial-up computer and pull up like a GameFAQs website where there'd be like a walkthrough, and it just got to be like factual, like this is where you find this weapon or
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
you like get your Game Informer every month and
Yep.
or whatever. But like to get so much content and so much opinion about something, like if you get like a whole bunch of people that are just like, oh, this game is blah 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 blah, and it's negative negative negative, and like you consume that, like that can easily ruin your perception of a game before you even go into it. Like it could be
Oh
like
yeah.
one of your favorite games if you went in dark and just
Hmm.
experienced it for yourself. I don't know, I think it's becoming counterproductive for enjoying games. At least for me, like I'm in like not.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem to it seems countercultural for our own culture as gamers.
Right.
The whole point is to get this game, and you saw like a preview of it, and you're like, "That looks dope. I'm gonna go get a copy of that." You can't really rent games anymore, so but it used to be you would rent them, and you would spend all weekend playing these things, and you, like you said, you didn't know about it beforehand. You went
Yeah.
in blind, and either it was awesome and you loved it, and you rented it again to play it again, or you bought a copy because you loved it so much, or you just said this sucked and you moved on. So I
Yeah.
don't know. It just seems like we're shooting ourselves in the foot sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Speaking of renting games, I remember one time. It was probably around my first child, who is now 11, was first born. Just like maybe a year or two. Um, but Jeremy was over at the house and got Gears of War 3, the last one in that trilogy, just came out. I couldn't, at the time, go forward and buy a $60 game for the Xbox 360, but I either went to a rental place or like a Redbox and rented it for like $2 or $3, and me and Jeremy sat in my house. I don't know how it happened. Like Chelsea wasn't there; it was just me and him, and we played that game from start to finish before I had to return it the next day. And that was like some of the most fun. Like we from the very beginning to the very end beat that game, loved the game, and then took it back. And I don't know. I miss being able to do that sometimes. Just
Yeah,
rent a game. I remember when Fallout 4 came out, I rented it on the Redbox for PS4 because I couldn't afford to go get it. But
right.
I really want to play this game because I remember how much I loved Fallout 3 and really loved it. But it was like maybe a month or two before I could actually like go and buy it. But I rented it and then enjoyed it and knew I enjoyed it. It's
Yeah.
video games are different now.
Video games are vastly, vastly different. Do you want me to add an offshoot to the picker wheel of video games?
No, I think we could keep it tabletop
Oh,
related.
okay, okay. Because
Yeah.
we love video games and all kinds of different stuff like that. So yeah, this feels more like territory for Two Beards Say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring that
Which,
back.
yeah, all we gotta do is fire it up and change the title.
That's true. Super simple. Super simple. Yeah.
All right, I got the picker wheel pulled up. Let me switch over here to the screen share. Not sponsored by Lowe's.
It could be though. Call us,
it could
Lowe's.
be, as much as we show your ads on here every week.
Yeah. It
All
it
right.
also goes to show you how much Travis goes to Lowe's.
I live pretty much right next door to Lowe's, and I go there quite a lot. Artificers.
Okay. This is
Yeah.
a class.
Yeah. The class that I don't know anything about because I haven't had anybody play one. So I'm excited about sitting down and
It's
learning about it.
super interesting. It's like the Tinkerer class is
Yeah.
what I call it. and you get to do some pretty crazy stuff. There's even one type of artificer you can be where you're actually making magic items.
Yes, yes. I've heard of things, and I know you create things, but outside of that, I don't know much about it. So, and I will do my homework this time.
Oh, my dogs are growling and barking at something. I was like, "What's that noise?"
Yeah, because you're by yourself right now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, "Hold on." Like it's nice. Like the recording space is not as hot as it normally is because I get to leave the door open because I
Yeah.
don't want to like wake up the baby and stuff like that. So it's nice getting some good airflow in here. And then all I heard in the background was my dog going, "Grrr." I'm like, "What in the world?" So yeah, next week we'll talk about artificers.
Yeah, and then we'll also see about getting Sea of Thieves stream sometime soon going.
I agree. We
When
should do that.
when's Emily gonna be back?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all for me here. You got anything else, Trey?
No. Play video games.
Yep.
They're
All right.
fun.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us for Favorite Terrain, episode 20, by the way.
Nice. 20 episodes in. That's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, so go check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and Twitch. Also TikTok and Instagram for the shorts that I don't put out because I get too busy, which is not a good excuse. But also go find us on patreon.com/twobeardsplay.
If you want more consistent content, support us on Patreon, and we'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
The goal is to do this professionally, people. Let's go.
Yes. So go find us on all the things. Thank you for hanging out with us. I'm Travis.
I'm Trey.
And we're Two Beards Play. Until next time, God bless. Love you.